Welcome to Evidence Strong News. My name is Alex and we will go through two interesting studies today. Let's go. So the first study comes from Egypt and is titled The Impact of Ballistic Training on Explosive Power Development and Some Biomechanics Parameters for Lifting the Snatch Youth Weightlifters. Okay, so in this study, 12 youth Olympic weightlifters were recruited from one of the regions of Egypt, and they were on the youth team. I assume they were males, although it is not explicitly written in the paper. And these 12 athletes were divided into two groups. One group underwent 12 weeks of ballistic training, and one group underwent 10 weeks of free weights training, with the aim to improve their power during the snatch. And before the 10 weeks and after 10 weeks, all the athletes were tested. They were tested on explosive power 1RM of power clean, power jerk, and power snatch, front squat, back squat, and snatch pull. And they also measured maximal kilograms lifted in snatch. So they measured the weight the athletes were lifting, power, and acceleration using two cameras from the side view. The ballistic training group protocol is quite nicely described in the appendix to this paper. Unfortunately, the free weights protocol was taken from a few studies, so I'm not quite sure what they actually did there. Okay, what this test showed was that the ballistic training group performed better than the free weights group, but both groups improved from pre-10 weeks to post-10 weeks. A really nice thing about the study is that the authors provide all the values from the testing at the beginning and the testing after 10 weeks in tables. So if you are after power clean, power jerk numbers, or front squat numbers for a 15-year-old boy, you can find them there and compare. And if you want to see how the progress over 10 weeks should look like with power focused training, you have these numbers also in these tables. So have a look. Okay, the next study comes from UK. It is very fresh, just published, and it's titled Capturing the Holistic Profile of High Performance Olympic Weightlifting Development. I think this study will tie really nicely with the previous one because it's a similar demographic, just a different country. So the authors have recruited 29 youth and junior Olympic weightlifting athletes, 21 males, 8 females, around the age of 15 to 16. All the athletes were affiliated with Wales Weightlifting. And the researchers collected, wait for it, 648 variables. And some of them were just demographical data, but they also did physiological and psychosocial sporting history, including weightlifting history, and data on practice. They did physical testing, questionnaires, and a short 15 to 20 minutes interview with the researcher. Then the athletes were sent away to do their training for the next 10 months, and then they came back for another testing round after that time. The athletes' competitive results were collected from the beginning of the study until 12 months after the second testing round. So almost 2 years. Then the researchers classified athletes as low-performing or high-performing athletes. And then they used machine learning analysis. And then the researchers tried to figure out which of 648 variables are relevant to weightlifting performance. So first of all, the study have found that development of elite performance in Olympic weightlifting is complex and multidimensional. And here are a few of the particular findings. So having access to sports participation in school between the ages of 6 and 12 was the factor that promoted high performance. So were flexibility or mobility training before the age of 11 or the age of 14. High-performing athletes had lower level of perfectionism and had a lower percentage of extrinsic feedback at the first measurement time, and the lower change between video analysis from the first testing to the second testing. High-performance athletes had higher level of demonstration at the first testing time, had higher volume of flexibility and mobility training at testing 1, and a higher volume of full snatch practice at testing 1. It's a very interesting and well-written paper, so if you are working with young athletes, you should go and read it. One more news, Evidence Strong has now a Patreon community where you can access all the content early with additional extended versions of interviews with researchers, and every month we do a masterclass on the topic you guys decide on. So if you are someone who wants to keep up with all the research but don't have time to go and look for it by yourself, that's the place to be. See you next time.